Thanks.
Tell me about your guitar.
This is a Raji guitar, and it's the first time in apparently 40 years that they redesigned the bracing inside, and with this model, and they made it more like a Martin style bracing on the inside, and it's solid rosewood and spruce, which is the sound I was going for because I feel like the rosewood and spruce has this really nice sort of shimmery high end with the harmonics and things like that. And now I'm using these 80-20 bronze strings that also have that brighter, like really shimmery high stuff going on.
Tell me what that tuning is.
This is C, G, C, G, C, and then it's C sharp. So the flat second gives it that very, and then the major third is like, it's got kind of very dark, serious mood, and then goes to that major third, and it's really bright. So it's got a combination of really sweet sounds in there.
Nice, really nice.
And I love how the bass is kind of bends a little bit, like a tabla.
Yeah.
And these are just light gauge strings. They're not like thick or anything, but if I get the attack right, I can get a big dynamic range of sounds out of it.
I love the way that you bring your heritage from the East into your music. I mean, it was clear to me from the first few notes when I walked in the room, and really in the beginning of the piece and throughout, it's just really wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you.
What else you got?
Can I play you another one?
Please.
Excellent. This is my other newest piece. This one I have a title for. And I'm using some, I keep learning new techniques because I'm still sort of newish to fingerstyle guitar. Been doing it for like at least 10 years now, but I keep finding new ways to make cool sounds on the instrument. And so this one, it's using a technique that Michael Hedges used, but it wasn't one that I had really gotten good at. Like the pull-ons and hammer-offs while the other things are going on. Hammer-ons. So this was fun for me to do. This one is called Eye of the Storm, but it's the letter I.
Yeah.
So the eye of the storm.
Nice.
And the idea for me is that having a mind is like being in a storm. Just a human with a mind. It's like a storm for all of us.
Yes.
And so the I in the middle is the place where it's calm. And so this was also inspired by the Diamond Sutra in Buddhism, which talks about how when we are able to recognize our interconnection with all things, and that, you know, this idea that there are all these separate things is actually illusory, and it's just the way that our mind as humans creates the world in front of us, but the true nature of reality is more that there's just a field of one thing.
Consciousness.
Yeah, and we're all a part of it. So when I play, I very much feel like I disappear, and there's the channel coming through, and the sound waves are hypnotizing me and extending out physically into the world, and my consciousness can kind of follow that out. And so when we are able to do that, we connect to the calm that is really in the center of our spirit, which is that knowing that we're all interconnected. So the eye of the storm. C, G, D, G, C, D.
That was crazy great. That was crazy great.
Thank you.
Really, really good. I love your dynamics.
Thank you.
I love it's like Nirvana or something. You'll get really calm and then the storm comes up.
Yes.
And then it really, but very unique style. And it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like what I've found is that it really functions as like, the ambrosia, like the nectar of the gods. When I play, I just, no matter what's happening, I feel like it feels the same way like when I hug someone to the right, because most people hug to the left. When you hug on the right, the heart's a little to the left, so it lines up the hearts. And I feel like when I give someone like a 4 second, 5 second hug in that way, when I let go, I feel almost like I'm floating a little bit. Same thing happens when I play. I feel like, because that idea of the energy coming in and channeling and then going out, it's kind of like I don't have to hold my body up. It's being held up by this field of interconnection. And there's it's such a beautiful feeling to relax into that and just be held up by this, whatever this life force is. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's like science magic. It's science and it's magic. So good. And then I want to offer that to others with the hope that it can help them feel good and feel some relief and inspire them to do the work of sensing our interconnection, which then leads us to want to heal ourselves in a way that allows us to become clearer vessels of love so that we can be a force of good on the planet and collectively bring it up to a place, a more beautiful world that we all imagine could be.
I so love that. And you are speaking Barbara Minton's language. I'm going to talk to her about you.
Please, yeah. We have tried to connect before, and I'm sure that there's going to be some project that we do together in the future, because I would just love that.
She's got a new album with Pepino, but she's reaching out to find other people.
Good.
I didn't know that anybody's talked about music as medicine as clearly as I've heard you today. So it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you worn out, or are you ready to play some more for
I'll
us?
play another one. In fact, I'd like to play one for you that is it's called Clarity, and the invitation is actually to sense your interconnection. I'll explain that after I get it.
Okay.
So this one also is kind of a nod to some Indian tonal style, and it's based on a raga called Rag Yaman, and it's traditionally one of the first rags taught to Indian music students in North Indian classical music, and it's a devotional rag. And what's interesting about it is that it's the major scale, but it has the diminished note, the flat fifth, or the sharp four. So
Is the tuning different than the last one?
this is the tuning for the rain song, which has become my standard tuning.
Which is what? Remind?
It's a C G C G C D.
Okay.
And Chris Yakub, who's here, also uses this as his kind of standard open tuning. And when I do my lesson tomorrow on how to improvise in open tunings, I'm going to start with this tuning as well. But this one, it uses the major scale is. But this one is that note, which I don't quite reveal right away, but then I get to it. And this one it's called Clarity because a few times in my life I've had these what I call moments of clarity where I was like struck by this idea of interconnection and actually like sensed it in this really beautiful way. Where one time it happened to me, I was walking by and I was just looking at the, some bushes right over here, like the green leaves of it. And then it just struck me that it's hard to describe, but I was like not separate from it. And then beyond it, I wasn't separate from that. And it just was a flash of this, like the bliss of interconnection. And so I call that a moment of clarity. And so for this, the invitation is to use the sound waves as a tool to help you physically sense your interconnection. And the way you could do that is by visualizing that when I do this, there are actually invisible waves moving through air and moving through our bodies and through the walls and through the bed and the floor and everything. And so as that sea of frequency, as we are in that, we can actually feel that we're connected to everything through that, because those sound waves are connecting everything physically. So that's the invitation for this. And another thing I like to add to it sometimes is that if you imagine that your skin doesn't end where it meets the air, and that in fact it's all atoms kind of blending together, that can be a nice starting point. And then using the sound waves and the melodies as a way to sort of consciously extend out and sense it.
And healthier to do this through music than psychedelics, which is kind of how I early on.
There are many tools.
This is a beautiful one.
Clarity. One thing that I forgot to do was I always start my concerts by saying, let's take a breath together. and I do this. And then I say, now listen to this one note until it turns to silence, and figure out where the sound meets the silence. And then I introduce the first piece and start my concert. So that's always what I do.
Very beautiful. One of my partner's favorite books is a book called Breath by James Nessler or something. I forget, but breathing is. He recommends that before you take your blood pressure, that you just breathe.
Yeah.
Relax and breathe, and your blood pressure drops by like 8 to 10 points.
Such a powerful technique.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy and it's always there. And I so rarely remember to do that.
Yeah.
When I do, I'm grateful that I did.
The 5-7-5 method. There's all sorts of different.
All right. I'm Raji, Malik, and this piece is called Not All Who Wonder Are Lost. And it's about how when we stay connected to a sense of wonder and awe in our lives, that when we find ourselves lost and unsure of how to proceed, that if we stay connected to wonder, a way will always present itself.
absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. I'm Raji Malik, and this piece is called Unwinding Knot. And the invitation is to use the sound waves as a tool to help you unwind any spiritual, physical, or emotional knot that you are managing now.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
This is my newest piece, actually, and it's in a tuning that I haven't used before that I've been wanting to use for a while. But it doesn't have a title yet, and most of my pieces have a specific visualization that go along with them that address some sort of physical, emotional, or spiritual healing process or opportunity. This one is very much about catharsis, because I would go to it when I was, feeling like I needed to release some difficult emotions, and it's been helpful for me for that. So that's what I have so far.
Sweet. And the title?
Don't have a title yet. It could be just catharsis, but I'm thinking on it. And what I like to do is I like to get other people's impressions of the compositions and ask them what their experience was, and sometimes I develop a visualization or invitation around what they tell me, and sometimes I develop titles around what they suggest.
Do you find that your music that you play for your students is calming for them? As part of your
Hugely.
music is medicine stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It very much allows them to like bring their focus in, and their attention, and it helps with self-regulation emotionally, physically.
Nice.
It really helps a lot. Cool, I'll play this piece for you.
Great.
And this was a way to weave in some of the more traditional Indian tonalities into my compositions. Maybe the AC won't get in the way.
Bother it. It might be that the mic's close enough to you and it's not to worry. I can see where I'm very bad at knowing when to stop asking people to play, so you're just going to have to tell me when you've had enough.
Well, I would actually love to ask you both, was there anything in the catharsis piece that you noticed, or any images or feelings or any words or ideas that were in that first one that I played that would be helpful in terms of sort of constructing an invitation or offering to an audience when I play it?
The word transformation came to my mind. It felt like this Himalayan hero's journey of like adventure of
Himalayan hero's journey. I love that. Oh my God, that's so cool.
You know what I mean? Like it felt like that I'm on this adventure, but I'm finding myself, and I'm turning into something else. I'm transforming.
God, I just got chills. I might even start crying there for a second. Whew. That's really, I'll tell you why that resonates with me so much. I'm so glad you said that. This is why communicating with others is so powerful, because that just stirred something in me that's so deep and so important to that piece.
It came out very strong, that message and that tune.
Wow, thank you.
It's very powerful.
Thank you. I wonder if it should be called Himalayan Hero's Journey.
Do it. Take it, man. Himalayan Heroes Journey.
I like it.
Right? It's got a good, I mean, it's definitely got that Indian referential feeling to it. So him calling it Himalayan is perfect. And when I was growing up, my father had a sabbatical. We went to India for 4 months. I was 8 years old. And me and my two sisters would read the Indian comic books about their mythology, Hindu mythology and the gods and the wars and all this stuff. And so we would dress up in towels and things like that and act it all out. So there was very much a theme of the Himalayan heroes, in my childhood around that. That's neat. Wow.
And the hero's journey part captures the transformation idea, but also this like adventure that you take them on in the song. All the dynamics and
yes.
all these
and
hills and valleys and places that you go.
Yeah, when I do the big crescendo and then I come back in with that kind of offbeat, slower, hypnotic thing, to me that is a very transformative kind of section where it's like it's like breaking apart the pieces of myself and then starting to put them back together, in a really more careful and intentional way. And it's filled with the going through that on a personal level for all of us is just filled with mystery, right? Like it's just such a mysterious process. And yet, so that really resonates for me.
And there's just this beautiful dissonance in there, but then it resolves at times and just it takes you all over. It's a great tune, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the newer pieces that I'm doing are more dynamic. The last piece I did, it wasn't as dynamic in terms of like intensity, but it maintains like a thick sort of trance-like quality throughout. Whereas my newer stuff now is starting to get more dynamic, which I'm really excited about.
But the texture that you create in that last one.
Both are good.
Yeah, I mean both the
styles.
Yeah. Both have and it'll just make your album all the more dynamic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do have the old sort of trancey and then also the new more breathing in the music. So that's fun.
Well, thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you.
We should probably start getting ready for Musicarium.
Let's do it.
Start.
Yes.